Hi, welcome to today's video channel update for July. Crazy 4 weeks. The same week I released the June update, went ahead and injured my knee, right knee, so on Thursday at work anyway. And still had to go out to summer camp. They had to have, there was too short notice for some other adult to take my place. So, knee brace, crutches, and made it work somehow, but it hasn't been the best of months, I'll tell you that much. And you know, it's been 4 weeks now. By the time I'm recording this, a little over 4 weeks. But there's just this last Saturday was the first day off crutches. It was Saturday, and I was able to go to gaming. Did Frostgrave. It was kind of it was a good day. It was intense. One of the games didn't go quite the way I was hoping, but the next, Sunday, second day, that crutch was doing fantastic. Unfortunately, Sunday night last night, tripped over my son's cat. Ironically, cat's name is Trippy, and aggravated the knee. So it's like just getting back into the swing of things. You saw I was able to get a couple painting projects done. It's been kind of weird these last few weeks because when I started, after I got back from camp, I really couldn't go up and down stairs much at all without really aggravating stuff. So my entire workroom is downstairs in the basement. My video recording area is upstairs in the loft. I can go, my bedroom's upstairs too, but constantly making the up and down moves, just was too much strain on the knee. So my lighting wasn't set up for anything, and to bring stuff up and down the stairs to get everything ready was just too much for my knees to take. So video recording had to be done carefully and sporadically. Getting to the main level outside, I was able to do that, so I was able to get some videos done using the front porch and right off the front porch. But most of the stuff I really couldn't do. It kind of threw a wrench in things. It was honestly, I'll be frank, I was depressed through most of that. I just didn't have a lot of motivation to do much. But in order to kind of help me through that time, I got some my bolt action stuff was all in one box. All the models, all the paints, all the brushes, even the water cup. Everything was there in one box. So it's just a matter of having son bring it up to the main level so I could spend my evenings there. I didn't have the best of lighting, but it was enough to get the job done to the level it needed to be, because I'll go back over it to do the finer detail and touch-ups anyway later. So I was able to progress on that project. After a couple weeks, first 3 weeks or so, I finally got a little more mobile and was able to make my way downstairs and get the stuff I needed for the Mage-Wrath throne. And again, stayed on the main level, did most of that work. Was able to, again, make it a little bit back downstairs. Couldn't spend a lot of time going back and forth. Essentially, just go there and stay, or come up and stay. But when I needed the light to, do the red granite properly, that's what I did, or do the dry brushing or the grays, the charcoal grays. I went down there and did that. Of course, by the end of that project, my knee was feeling a lot better. That was just last week. So things were starting to get back some speed. I was really starting to get better. But, so you've seen those things happen. Unfortunately, being down and out during this time, it's been really kind of, the only word I can use really is depressing. Because, I'm hobbling around on crutches to get to work and come back. Basically stay on the main floor of the house until basically bedtime to go back upstairs. Not a whole lot to do. I did get to read some, but you kind of get tired of sitting around doing nothing. Nothing of interest anyway. For me, modeling in order to do it, I have to have the right setting, tools, my workbench. Painting, I don't want to do it unless I'm really in the mood. So things have been kind of kind of discombobulated. Was able to get a rule book for 8th edition, so I've been going over that. Unfortunately, because of the knee, I missed 3 weeks where I could have been doing 8th edition battle reports. So that's why this whole title of this update is Best Laid Plans, because thinking back on Hemingway's quote, it was like, here I had all these ideas for how I was going to approach 8th edition, learning it. I could have easily had 8 to 12 videos. As it was, I only got 2 done. I haven't gamed. I have 2 games of 8th edition under my belt, and here's a full month, more than a month in. My next game will be part of the Fate of Konor campaign. So it's really been kind of, I guess, frustratingly disappointing. Now, looking back, I really can't say I could do anything different, because when you're hurting that much, it really affects your concentration. So I did as much as I could, and I'm pleased with what I got done. It's just bummer that all my plans are kind of messed up. But if this knee gets better by the end of the week, which I'm hoping it will, because it was an aggravation. I don't think I re-injured it. We'll see. Saturday will be hopefully, I want to try a new idea I have, for almost a newsreel approach to the campaign for Konor. So we'll just see what happens. Again, along the lines of Best Laid Plans, I've been wanting to do some Frostgrave kind of content, but we've been doing games, 4-way games. Those take a little bit longer, and the rules are a little different as far as the way you exit boards or what have you. They've been fun, don't get me wrong, but they would drag on for quite a while. They do take, hour and a half or so, or more, to get through several of the scenarios. So I don't know what I'm going to do about Frostgrave. I want to do it. Maybe if I can get some one-on-one in there, then we'll do some of those. So we'll see. No promises though, because again, you can plan all you want, but it may not work. But having all this time to think, it's got a two-edged sword. Unfortunately, I may have cut myself on that. When the Primaris Space Marine models came out, I started thinking about stuff I've been reading recently, and they have the whole Thunder Warriors concept in the fluff for pre-30K, the Rise of the Emperor. And I was thinking, boy, it'd be kind of neat to use the Primaris Space Marines to be kind of the old Thunder Warriors, just a complete conversion to do it, because they're definitely bear no resemblance except in size. But probably someone else has done that, I'm sure. I don't know. It's one of those ideas that's probably cool, but I don't want to start a Primaris army. I don't want to be, a Space Marine player. It's just one of those ideas that's really cool. Now, however, one thing I've been thinking about doing, got a notion, and I think I'll blame a little bit of it on Nick Iddick because he kind of, he's been going through the 40K Necron stuff, and the first campaign I ever wrote was dealing with a Tomb World Awakening. Haven't seen that yet because I don't have a Necron player around here, but I liked the idea of the Rise of the Necrons and such, and there's something that should be pretty fun about going ahead and building an army that's relatively easy to paint, should be simple, and I could have a villain, somewhere in there, and actually I could even be the player in this campaign. Originally, it was written for somebody else to take that part, but so I'm thinking in 2018. Not sure, but I'm thinking I might start Necrons, but not the way most people do. I'm going to start. The first purchases will be the Citadel board, the Tomb Citadel tile from from Forge World, along with the several boxes of Warriors, and probably an Immortals. I will quickly add to that Spider, and just one Spider, maybe two, and a few Wraiths, up to 6 Wraiths. Because what I want to do is kind of follow the protocol, the programming, if you will, the Tomb World, on the Tomb World Awakening. The first thing that wake up are the Scarabs, Tomb Spiders, Wraiths, which are actually already maintaining the systems of the Citadel while everybody sleeps. Then the Warriors are awakened, and then the Immortals are awakened, and then they go out and do their forays. Based on what evidence resistance they come upon, or what evidence they find, what those recon missions result in, that determines what is awakened next in this programming. And though there's a pattern that it usually follows, destroyers, your heavier stuff, your what do you call it, Ghost Ark, monoliths, those will all slowly be added. And so I'm thinking what I'll do is, if I do approach the Necrons, I'll start with that initial buy, paint that up, start playing, and then as I see what happens to my armies as they fight, then each month I'll add what I think my army's missing based on what it's been fighting. It's more of a organic way of building it, instead of going for some crazy tournament focused list. Or this would be a completely fluff list. Matter of fact, in the end, by the time I'm done, it will be fluffy enough to have all of the components that I've actually written into that campaign, so we could pull that campaign off. But it won't get there through any sort of formal planning. It just depends on what I see my need would be. So that's kind of the idea I've got. Harebrained might be the result of medication, but that's kind of what I've been thinking. So we'll see how that ends up. I don't know what you guys are planning on doing with this Fate of Khonor, but I've been kind of looking forward to it. I am going to play my Tau. Again, I need to learn the system, and I'll go with an army I'm familiar with and have got some experience with. I'm by no means an expert, but I think it's the shortest learning curve. And so this weekend I'll probably be bringing some very minimal Fire Warriors, focusing on my Hammerheads, Pathfinders, marker drones, a couple of HQs, including the commander with the drone controller, and I gotta do my flyers. So I'm gonna have a flying circus again. Try and do 2 Remora drones with the A3 Razor Shark. When I was looking through the Codex index, there's a few things bothered me as they rolled things out. The first one was the when they came out, the marker lights weren't quite as effective as I had hoped that they would be. But of course they completely changed a lot of the rules for cover and shooting and also rolling the hit. So it made sense, but it just took me off guard. So it took some time to get used to that. I didn't like the fact that you no longer had a 2+ using a marker light with secret missiles. Now you use the ballistic skill of whatever whatever unit's launching it. Don't particularly like that, but that's the way it is. When they came out with the Imperial Armor update and they came out with some FAQs, things really kind of got crazy. They FAQ'd the drone savior protocols, where you basically allocate a wound to a drone instead of yourself. You don't get the drone doesn't get a save. It just boom, it's dead. It's like I'm speechless. I don't like that at all. It essentially made shield drones pointless, except within the unit. So the unit they're part of, they'll get their save, 4-up save against those, but nope, not beyond that. They're pointless. But they just came out with edition 1.1 FAQ for that, and turns out that what the shield generator will allow you to get, whether it's on a stealth suit, a crisis suit, or the shield drone, is a 5-up, kind of like a feel no pain. It ignores the wound. Even a mortal wound, you can roll 5 to ignore it. So that at least allows you to have shield drones that will be able to survive the Savior Protocol move. So that's a good thing. Also, when they came out with the I found it humorous. They came out with the Tiger Shark AX01 update, and they included a gun, which has a macro gun type. So if you move, you can't shoot. Unfortunately, it's a flyer that can't hover, so it has to move. And the only time you can shoot is if you have a keyword Titanic, which it didn't, so it had a main gun, you couldn't shoot. They fixed that in the 1.1 update. Now it can shoot even though it doesn't have the Titanic update. What's really cool, though, is the Tiger Sharks, both of them, are just flyers. They're not Lords of War. They're still expensive, but I can put them in with my flyer contingent. It's like I've got 6 flyers now for my Tau. My flying circus is just getting better. I'm loving it. But then I was a little disappointed when I first read the Barracuda AX5 something. I forget what they call them. I read through them, and everything about it read like it's just the new model. The old Barracuda was just thrown out the window. But I didn't really read it close enough. That's my fault. Just being reactionary. What ended up happening was you were able to replace the elements, the different guns, on the new AX version of the Barracuda with the older stuff, like the burst cannons, which actually are now long barrel burst cannons instead of the original burst cannons. And you can replace the main gun, which was a railgun, I think, some sort of railgun, with an ion cannon. So great, my Barracudas are back in business. So my flying circus, it's all set. Hoping that the Fate of Konor's campaign will allow me to have some more fun with that. Especially since now flyers contingent, there can be 5 flyers. There's your boom. And then 2 flyers can be part of a battalion or brigade. So I've got 6 flyers. I can now fit them into a normal army with no difficulty whatsoever. I'm really psyched about that. So I don't think I'm going to actually talk about what is coming up in the future, because based on what happened last time, you never know. So yeah, it's kind of hard to say what's going to happen. But one thing that you'll start seeing, I can't wait to start this project. I'll get added to my other hundreds of models to build. I am actually still working on the Titanosaur. I just started working with that. I'll have an update for that coming out reasonably soon. We'll see how that plays out. Leg, lighting, and everything pending. And then finally, there's an addition to the Frostgrave. They have a new deck of cards. They call it Atelier Motives, I think. And it's like special warband specific missions. Objectives. So you draw a card. You can actually draw a few cards, and I guess you pick the one you want. And you have some additional other reason to be there besides just going and looting treasure. So it adds more variety to the game, and it doesn't become as one-sided when one player becomes a little more powerful or has a larger warband. Just so many things can unbalance warbands. Still, it's a good game the way it's laid out. It's not as unbalanced so far as Mordheim was. As bands get bigger or more powerful. Except crossbowmen are really, 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 really vicious. That's one thing that's almost gotta take as a crossbowman. Now, anyway, back to these cards. There are 7 or 8. I think there's 8 different terrain pieces and they're really small. Consider them almost like objective markers of various types. And so I'm going to create a set of those so that, I'm going to 2 sets, one for myself, one for my son. This also helps. So if I'm playing somebody else and they don't have them, we can still use the cards. We'll both have these things, because what you do is when you draw a card, it tells you which of the terrain pieces you're going to use, and it gives you 2 or 3 other terrain pieces you'll put down as well to kind of confuse your opponent. So the opponent never really knows which objective card you really have, what your goal is. There's 3 different of these terrain pieces out there. Your objective could be any part of any of them. He won't really know. So They call them red herrings, I think. But anyway, they're small projects. We're little, it could be like the Guardian Stones from Skyrim. There's a trapdoor. One's a well. Simple things like that. One's a portal, a disc, kind of a teleporting pad, if you will, kind of thing. So there's a lot of, they're little things, but they should be a quick evening type project for each one. And so it'll be nice to break away from the painting that I've got so much to do with. So those will be coming, and I'm not going to do a video on each. I'll probably break up 2 videos covering a set of 4 for each. And I'll try to get those done over the next month, so I've got a complete set, at least one complete set, for next month's Frostgrave game. So that's the goal anyway. We'll see how that plays out. Alright, so it's been, 20 minutes or so. I think that's probably the only real update I can give you on what stands where. Again, I can't really tell you what I'm planning for the future. I'm still just trying to catch up from being, down for a month and trying to get through my backlog. I did get the Eternity Staircase from Dave again to paint, so I'll actually approach that one much like I did the Dreadfire Portal. Very similar color scheme. They seem to have architecture that are very similar. Alright, well, I guess with that, thanks for sticking with me. Share, like, subscribe. Oh, yeah, one of the things that was kind of cool is I'm already at 145 subscribers. And it's kind of neat. It just ticks up. It's almost like every 6 months or so I get a 50. It's just kind of that rate. So 8 to 10 a month. Usually about 8 a month. Slow and steady. That's cool. And it's good. Hopefully the material that I'm putting out, especially the different projects, are giving you guys ideas. Maybe a different approach, way of looking at something. I don't think I'm going to hold back. I think I might actually jump into the fray a little bit on the 8th edition, not an indexed review or codex review, but as I finally get those, what do you call them, those games, duh, my brain's dead, get the games under my belt where I've actually played with the Tau units and learn kind of for myself how they synergize or whatever, how the differences are between last and this edition. I think I will do a Tau specific, here's, Tau in 8th edition, kind of what it means, because maybe, maybe what I come across or have in my mind, maybe it's something that someone else can benefit from. I purposely have not really been watching other people's opinion videos on, or their advice videos, if you will, on different units, because I don't want to call them all talking heads, but there is this drive to get content out, and a lot of it's just going to be, hopefully they're well thought out, but a lot of it's just going to be impressions, and a lot of it looks good on paper, but may not apply real well on the tabletop. So I'm just going to let the tabletop action speak for itself in my learning of this. And as I learn things, I'll put it out there. We'll just, like I said, start with the Tau, just see what's to learn. Now eventually I'll switch over and I'll start doing orcs. I can't wait to start doing them. I want to start doing some modeling projects there. But I've got to start small with what I know, learn the system, because eventually we have to finish off the narrative campaign with the climactic mission number 8, where the Harlequin Grand Army seeks to exact its revenge for the death of their triumvirate against the Alpha Legion. That Chaos Lord just has to eventually go down. At least you hope. Okay, so anyway, we gotta get an 8th edition on our belt so we really understand it, and I can make a good scenario for that. So that's what this whole learning curve is going to be driving toward. So that's kind of what lays ahead. Hopefully it'll be a fun month come August. I know the 21st. I'm fortunate enough to live in an area that's close enough to the path of the eclipse, so I know I'm taking some time to enjoy that. Last time I was in the area for something like that, it was an annular eclipse, so it was the ring version of it. This is a total eclipse, so that's going to be kind of cool. It's almost a once-in-a-lifetime thing. Eclipses happen all the time, but every year, but they don't always happen near where you live. Okay, so I'm taking advantage of that time this time this year to, just kind of be there and live through it once, because I don't think it'll happen again anytime soon where I'll be living in that area. So, alright, well, with that, I think I'll wrap this up, and stay tuned for the Q&A that'll come out at the end of the month. If you haven't already checked out the June Q&A, please do, and add questions into the end of that. Let me know what you think, what you want to know, what you want to think. Answer the question that I posed. Turns out that there have been a few people out there already asking some questions that I was thinking about asking for this next go-around, so I'll come up with something else. But look forward to that. The next Monday, I think, will be, next Monday will be the Q&A. So that'll be the 31st of July. Alright, so with that, enjoy your gaming. Thanks for sticking around, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.